Hi, I'm Zara.
Hello, I'm Dre.
Hi, I'm Ismail.
And I'm Safra Cleveland, the camera woman.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. So today, I'm going to give a commemorative speech. I'm going to give a tribute to a very special person to me. Everybody has an individual in their life that they may have heard of or they may have read about that has inspired them a certain way. To me, an individual that may not be so well recognized by many people, but has definitely inspired me and many other people around the world. This individual is called Patrice Lumumba. Who's Patrice Lumumba? Well, Patrice Lumumba is considered by many to be the greatest leader that Africa has ever produced. Okay, Patrice Lumumba, he's the epitome of patriotism, leadership, courage, and determination. To me, when I read about Patrice Lumumba maybe 10 years ago, I was ecstatic to find out that there was a leader during the Pan-African movement of the 1950s and 1960s that represented the ideals that I felt that could lead the continent into the dark time that we currently are in right now. So, Patrice Lumumba, who was he? Patrice Lumumba was born in July 2nd, 1925, and with only a primary school education, he grew up to be a very inspired and very, very well-educated individual that he pretty much educated himself based on homeschooling. He became a very good writer in the Belgian Congo. In 1955, he became the editor of the Belgian Tribune in Leopoldville, Belgian Congo at the time. So, becoming a great writer, instead of writing like how other writers wrote in the Belgian Congo at the time, not even just in the Congo, but also just in other places in Africa, he wrote not just about tribal supremacy or this tribe is better, that tribe is better. He wrote about social reform and discrimination that the Congolese people was going through by the Belgian government, and he wrote about unity amongst not just the different tribes in Congo, but just in Africa alone. At this time, in 1955, there was no sub-Saharan country that was independent in Africa at the time. So, because he was a threat to Belgian Congo and then the U.S., they viewed him as a threat to the Western powers. In 1955, he became imprisoned for embezzlement. He did 12 months and then he was released. So, what makes Patrice Lumumba special? Well, what he's remembered for is that upon not just being a great writer, but ever since he came out of prison in 1956, he formed the National Patriotic Movement in Congo, which was supposed to fight for independence. In 1958, after he started the movement, he was invited to the Pan-African Conference in Ghana in 1958, where he met his idol, Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah was the leader of the Pan-African movement in Africa at the time. Now, 33 years old, Patrice Lumumba, with no formal education, went up in front of all these speakers in Africa and told them that we need to unite. We should not be controlled by the Western powers, because if we're going to get independent, we need to show them that we can control our own resources and our own people. He went back to Congo, and in 1959, the Belgian government was going to set up a conference to give the Belgian Congo independence. So in 1960, they also put him in jail for inciting riots for independence, because he wanted independence now. He was sentenced for 60 months. However, he did not do that time because of the conference that was going to give the Belgian Congo independence. So when he came out of jail or after court, and they went in and they gave the Belgian Congo independence, it became known as Democratic Republic of Congo. during this time, he was named the prime minister because he has so many supporters in Congo. However, he was the prime minister and his rival was Joseph Vubu, who became the president. Now, there were so many different factions in the Congo. The Congo is a very big country. I mean, it's probably the size of the United States east of the Mississippi, so it's a very large country. Now, he's very famously remembered because when they gained independence, then King of Belgium, Boudin, he told the Belgian people, we are giving you independence. Now it is up to you to show us that you are worthy of your own independence. Now, mind you, the Belgian government and the U.S. government, they have been extracting the resources from the Congo since the late 1800s. The Congo is rich in uranium, gold, among other things, and the uranium was the same uranium that was extracted, that was used by the U.S. to develop the nuclear weapons that they used in World War II against Japan. So to them, the Belgian Congo was the key during the Cold War with them and Russia to maintain puppets in Africa so that they can extract the resources there. So, infuriated by the king's remarks about granting them independence, he was not supposed to speak. However, Patrice Lumumba, being the individual that he was, he felt that he had to respond. With the whole world watching, he told the king, among everybody else, that you did not grant us independence, for the independence is ours to be won. And he told the Congolese people that they have beaten us, they have destroyed us, they have broken our spirits, but today we are victorious. But not only victorious because of what we have done, but we're victorious because due to all the discrimination and all the resources they've taken from us, now is our opportunity to show the world that we can be a successful country. And that we shall come together, unite, and lead the country that's rich in resources to become a leading power in Africa. The Congolese people were so enlightened and happy by a leader that they felt that was going to bring the country, to the economic standpoint that they needed to be. However, many other leaders in Congo did not see his vision. And threatened by Patrice Lumumba's words and what he stood for, the Belgian government and the American government felt that it was necessary to eliminate the threat because they needed the resources, not only in Congo, but they needed a puppet leader in Congo that was going to help them in other places in Africa as well. So Lumumba, he pretty much embodied what it meant to stand for your morals, and that's very, very important to me. And I'm sure that you all have something that's very important. An individual that shows some type of characteristics or will or determination that you guys can respect. And he did that in a time when in a decade when African independence was becoming big, and many leaders were, instead of helping their people, they were in it for themselves. So he was a leader that was not in it for himself, but was for the people. And he was a big threat to leaders around the world that felt that, that was not the vision that they wanted to see at the time. So what happened to Lumumba? Well, after that fiery speech, within 3 months of independence, the Democratic Republic of Congo was in turmoil. The Belgian government and the U.S. government, they put money into these rival tribes in different parts of the country that didn't want to see Lumumba's vision, and they split the country. One part of the country seceded from the country and said that they was their own country. And the CIA and the Belgian government put money into this part of the country, and they formed a coup d'etat, with then Colonel Joseph Mobutu taking over. Now, Patrice Lumumba, he had already warned the Congolese that we have to be careful because the Belgians want to see us fail. They want to come and take all of our riches. So they are trying to plot against me. But you, even if I am not here, it's up to you, the people, to see that nobody wants to see you do well. So it's up to you to unite and to see the country do well. With that, they had him on a chain, they put him under house arrest, and they eventually sent him to the part of the country that seceded, and he was killed by a firing squad that was led by Belgian government and the CIA operatives. Joseph Mobutu's Sese Mobutu, he was a colonel at the time, he became president, a puppet president backed by the Belgian government and the US government. And he ruled the country for 32 years and robbed the country blind. They said at the time that he was, when he had a coup, he had pretty much $4 million more. And he had his own Concorde private jet. And this is the same thing that Lumumba had already promised that it was going to happen. And this time, the economic stability in Democratic Republic of Congo has never recovered, even to this day. You know, and Lumumba's legacy was, you know, they split the country, they assassinated him, and even when he reached out to other African countries, the Russians, who was going through a Cold War with the U.S., no one came to his aid because, you know, the big powers of the time, the U.S., Belgium, Britain, they all wanted to see him fail, and because they knew that his vision was something that was not going to be good for the colonial powers, who still wanted to get the money and the resources from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So, to me, in closing, I think that it's very, very important for us to remember a man that stood for his morals, and a man that, to me, I think is probably one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century. He did more than most people can really understand. I mean, he stood for, he was going against a large and powerful group of people that did not want to see him excel, or not want to see not only his people, but a large portion of Africa fail. And even to this day, we still see that puppet governments that are backed by these large superpowers that do not want to see them excel. After Lumumba's death, of course, there was riot and chaos everywhere. But his legacy is that people remember and still know that there are still leaders out there, not just in Africa, but around the world, that do not want to go in line with the norm of just falling in line with the superpowers of today, or even back then, 50 years ago. So, upon his assassination, there was a university chartered after him in Russia in 1962. He was killed in January 1961, and this past January marked the 54th anniversary of his assassination. So he has left his mark not just in Africa, but also around the world, where people see that it was a tragedy that he was killed. And I think that it's very important that we all pay tribute to a great man and a great leader, not just in Africa, but the rest of the world, that showed what a good man and a good leader can do with just a vision and determination, and not necessarily the formal education that we are all used to seeing most of these leaders have. Thank you.